first thing I noticed was the silence in my house. I grew up thinking silence meant peace, but that morning, it just felt wrong. My name is Connor. I live in a small town outside Indianapolis with my mom, my little brother Danny, and my stepdad, but lately, I've been crashing on my buddy Marcus's couch, trying to avoid the tension at home. Marcus works nights and snores like a chainsaw, but it's better than the yelling. Monday should have felt normal. I woke up late, drool on my pillow, and the faint sound of traffic outside. Except today there were more sirens than usual, and the birds sounded off, like they were warning each other. The sun didn't come through the blinds right. I scrolled my phone and saw nothing but weird news. Flu-like outbreak in Ohio, hospitals overcrowded. CDC issues statement, no need to panic. They always say not to panic. I threw on the same jeans from yesterday, grabbed a Pop-Tart and headed out, but stopped on the porch. Someone had coughed, not just a normal cough, a deep, wet, dragging sound. Across the street, Mr. Callahan was hunched over his trash cans, one hand pressed to his side, a weird red stain soaking through his shirt. Blood, dark and sticky, on the driveway. Mr. Callahan was old, but not the type to bleed in public. I waved at him, and he didn't even look up. His dog barked at nothing. A military van rolled past and just stopped, not moving, engine running. The guys inside wore full masks and kept glancing at their wrists, like they were waiting for a signal. A line of neighborhood kids walked past, all in masks. Was I missing something? I texted my mom. She usually texted me good morning, even if we fought the night before. No response. I thought I was late for work at the hardware store, but when I got there, the boss wasn't in and the doors were locked. The sign just said, "Family emergency, back soon." My phone buzzed with emergency alerts, each one contradicting the last. Shelter in place, evacuate, stay calm. My Twitter feed was full of videos. People collapsing in malls, random fights breaking out, blood on the floors at Walmart. It felt fake, like one of those viral pranks. Until I called my friend Tyler, who lives a block over, and his mom answered, crying, "We can't get him to wake up. Connor, please, help us." Before the line died. That's when the cell service dropped. No texts, no calls. The Wi-Fi at Marcus's place showed bars but loaded nothing. I ran outside, trying to call anyone, and saw two people arguing on the street about whether to leave or stay. Both looked desperate, shaking. The air had this sour smell, like rotting meat and bleach. I tried to laugh it off. Was this how panic started? Were we just losing it over the flu? But nobody was answering. Marcus wasn't home. My stepdad didn't answer. My brother's phone went to voicemail, and so did my mom's. The streets started emptying. I stood there, sweating, while a woman walked by, muttering, "It's just the news, they do this every year." But she was shaking, clutching her purse, glancing behind her every second. The silence kept building, only broken by coughs and sirens and the slam of doors locking. It wasn't until I walked back home that I saw Mrs. Kramer, the old lady who gave out full-size Snickers at Halloween, standing at her window and crying. Her hands left bloody smears on the glass. She saw me and tried to open the door, but her hands slipped, like she couldn't grip the knob anymore. I wanted to help, but something inside me told me to keep my distance. That was when it clicked. This wasn't panic. This wasn't just a bad flu. I saw my reflection in her window, saw how scared I looked, how sweaty my face was. The world was changing, and no one would admit it. I ran back to Marcus's house, slammed the door, and started locking every window. I grabbed a kitchen chair and shoved it under the handle. I found his old baseball bat and kept it close. I knew I should call my family, my mom, my brother, but every horror movie starts with the hero running out to save everyone and dying first. I texted my mom again. "Don't wait for me, just get somewhere safe." I wanted to go to them, but something told me to stay put and survive. I heard more coughing. More sirens, and then the sound of glass breaking down the street. I pushed the couch against the front door. I filled every pot and bottle I could find with water. I checked the pantry. Cans, pasta, peanut butter. I felt ridiculous, like I was LARPing The Walking Dead, but I couldn't stop. Every second the fear built higher. I checked the locks. I checked them again and again. At the window, I watched the world try to pretend things were normal for just a little longer. A dad jogged by, face red, earbuds in, pretending not to see the military van, pretending not to see Mrs. Kramer collapse against her door. A kid rode his bike past the blood on the sidewalk. A dog barked and barked until it sounded like it was choking. My hands shook so bad I dropped my phone. That's when the first alert came through, the one nobody wanted to see. The government message, in that cold, robotic voice. Do not wait for your family. Shelter in place. Lock all doors and windows. Do not trust anyone showing signs of infection. I stared at the words and realized I hadn't really breathed in minutes. For the first time in my life, I wasn't just scared for myself. I was scared for everyone. And it wasn't even noon yet. I never believed in the end of the world. My friends and I always joked about the zombie apocalypse, like it would be some dumb adventure where the slowest guy died first, and the rest of us became legends. But real fear is different. It doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like your stomach twisting and your hands sweating so bad you can't even unlock your own phone. I sat there, breathing in the stale air of Marcus's living room, holding that old bat so tight my knuckles ached. I kept thinking maybe I was being dramatic, maybe this would blow over. But the sounds outside just kept getting worse. Sirens turned into screaming. There was this weird chorus of dogs barking, then suddenly nothing. Even the birds went quiet. I kept checking the news, but everything was just chaos. Some channels played the same warning on a loop. Do not wait for your family. Do not attempt to evacuate. Over and over. I tried calling my mom again, straight to voicemail. I left a message anyway, whispering, "Please, just get somewhere safe. I'll find you after." I couldn't tell if I was lying to her or to myself. There was a bang on the door, sudden and violent. I jumped so hard I knocked over the water bottle I'd just filled. For a second, I thought about letting them in. What if it was Marcus? But then someone screamed right outside, and it didn't sound human. Like a person choking on their own spit, or worse. Through the peephole, I saw two people in the yard, wrestling. One was Mrs. Kramer's son, I think. The other, I don't know who the other was, but they were on him, teeth bared, blood streaked down their face and onto his shirt. He was trying to push them off, but the way they moved, snapping, gnawing, was all wrong. Not fighting, but eating. I backed away, breathing so hard I thought I'd pass out. I ducked behind the couch, gripping the bat, and heard glass shatter at the neighbor's house. More screams. Someone banged on the walls, and I could hear muffled pleading, then nothing but this awful, wet chewing sound. It made my skin crawl. I wanted to puke. I wanted to run out and help. I wanted to call the cops, but I knew it wouldn't matter. We weren't getting help. Not anymore. Suddenly my phone buzzed. Marcus. He was alive. I almost sobbed. His text was barely readable. Don't open door. Infected everywhere. Hid at gas station. Stay away from windows. I sent back, "Where's your sister? Your mom?" No reply. That's when the pounding started again. Louder, heavier. Someone, something throwing itself against the door, the windows. I pressed my back against the pantry door, heart in my throat, staring at the front window as a shape slammed into it, smearing blood across the glass. I recognized the hoodie. Tyler. My friend, or at least what used to be him. He bashed the window over and over. Eyes glazed, mouth hanging open, blood pouring from his lips. His hands clawed at the glass. His skin looked pale, almost gray. I whispered his name, but he didn't even blink. I tried to remember if I'd seen him sick. Had he said he felt bad last week? Was this really Tyler? I thought about running, but I couldn't. Not yet. The glass finally cracked. I stumbled back, nearly tripping on an empty can. Tyler's hand forced its way through the splintered glass, leaving bloody streaks on the couch. I knew I had to move. I ran for the back door, fumbling with the lock, hands shaking so bad I dropped the keys. Tyler slammed into the window again, and this time it shattered completely. I bolted outside, slamming the door behind me. The backyard felt wrong, too bright, too exposed. Someone was screaming 2 houses over, and another body stumbled out from behind a shed, moving with that same broken, jerky gait. Not human. Not anymore. I sprinted down the alley, not caring if I was seen. A siren wailed in the distance, then cut off. A car smashed into a tree at the end of the block, and 2 people spilled out, fighting. No, not fighting. One was biting the other, tearing at their arm, blood everywhere. I ducked behind a dumpster, knees shaking, trying not to cry. I realized in that moment that nobody was coming to save us. The army vans, the warnings, the helicopters circling, they weren't for rescue, they were for containment. I thought about my mom, my brother, my stepdad, and knew with a cold certainty that if I went back for them, I'd die. Or worse, I'd become one of them. I crawled out, headed for the old bike path behind the park. A couple of people were running, screaming for help, waving their arms. Someone else came out of the trees, limping, face covered in blood, and the runners didn't even slow down. They just kept moving. No one was helping anyone anymore. Every face I saw was just pure fear. I made it to a gas station and ducked inside. The lights were flickering. A couple huddled behind the counter, clutching a baseball bat and a kitchen knife. The guy stared at me, wild-eyed, but let me in. I looked at them, then out the glass doors where more shapes were stumbling into the parking lot, drawn by the sound, by the scent of us. We barricaded the doors with whatever we could find, cases of beer, bags of ice, even a buy one, get one free sign. It was laughable, but it was all we had. In that moment, as the glass doors shook under a growing tide of fists and teeth and bodies, I realized it was all real. It wasn't a prank or a drill or a bad dream. The world was gone, just like that, and I was still alive. But I wasn't sure for how long.